Alright, here we are with the final session of the Edgar Allan Poe project. Again, the tasking was a look at his death. So here in the previous sessions, I'm right here. It's like going to a hospital, there's an emergency, I got one person giving another person assistance. According to the story, this guy, Joseph Walker, is the guy who found him and helped him to this hospital. And then here he is, he's in the bed and all that kind of stuff. I'm just going to read this again, because it's very important. On October 3rd, 1849, Poe was found semi-conscious in Baltimore, in great distress and in need of immediate assistance. According to Joseph Walker, who found him, he was taken to Washington Medical College, where he died on Sunday the 7th, 5 in the morning. Poe was not coherent long enough to explain how he came to be in his dire condition, and why he was wearing clothes that were not his own. He is said to have repeatedly called out the name Reynolds on the night before his death, though it is unclear to whom he was referring. His attending physician said that Poe's final words were, "Lord help my poor soul." All the relevant medical records have been lost, including Poe's death certificate. The newspapers are saying that he probably died of alcoholism or something like that. The actual cause of death remains a mystery. Speculation has included delirium, heart disease, epilepsy, syphilis, all these other poisoning, carbon monoxide poisoning, rabies. One theory dating back to 1872 suggests that Poe's death resulted from cooping, a form of electoral fraud in which citizens were forced to vote for a particular candidate, sometimes leading to violence and even murder. Alright, so here I am in the session. Dude's in distress, somebody finds him, takes him to the hospital. He's lying in a bed, end of life. Get the feeling this person dies alone, and all that kind of stuff. Get the sense maybe this person was poisoned. Deathbed confessions. He's delirious, he's mumbling, which is what they were saying in here. Individual stricken with an illness, and may even have an infection of some kind. And I get the sense this person may have even been poisoned. But as the session ends here, my conclusion in this session was, there's also a sense that this person was at or near some type of uprising or conflict, may have suffered at the hands of militants just for being at or near the conflict area. Type of victim of circumstance, wrong place, wrong time, which sounds like this cooping thing here. Cooping was a form of electoral fraud, often cited in relation to the death of Edgar Allan Poe, by which citizens were kidnapped off the street and forced to vote, often several times over, for an election candidate. According to several of Poe's biographers, so-called cooping gangs, or election gangs, worked for a political candidate who would hold random victims in a room, the coop, ply them with alcohol, or give them face beatings to get them to comply. Often their clothing would be changed to fool voting officials and voting multiple times. Okay, now, I read that in the previous video, but I want to reiterate it because it's important. Okay, now here is the final session here. a knife. There's a person who is in pain, like they are suffering a knife wound to the midsection. There's conflict and strife around this person. They have suffered an attack. The notion is of a sort of inevitability regarding this individual. But why, I wonder? He's a tempter of fate, so to speak. But eventually, a wrong turn was made, and a death blow was delivered. This person here, this person is on the attack. But why, though, I wonder? The notion is like that of revenge or recognizing someone that is deemed an enemy. In a time of conflict, all are casualties, even of brute force. And if the opportunity arrives to remove an adversary, then so be it. Though it may come as a surprise for the victim. How did this happen, I wonder? There was a sense of trying to silence someone and or remove their influence, hide them away, and hope the world forgets about their existence. Is that what happened, though, I wonder? I see this individual in a hospital bed, an isolated room. The individual suffers a miserable end, painfully, which is what was happening here. Is this person lost, though, I wonder? They're sickly, dehydrated, their organs are failing, even poisoned. In the sense, is this person lost? In the sense of not being found, and or not being found in time. Did someone feel the need to stop this person, though, I wonder? To stop and or to cover up something. But cover up what, I wonder? This individual could or was declared dangerous to someone. The danger of knowledge and the burden of truth. It's like this person could have been killed by Nazis in the Second War. It's like that. He didn't start out that way, but it ended this way. I get a strong sense that at a certain point, this individual put his own needs and desires aside and went into the danger zone out of a sense of duty. Duty, though. Almost like a spy using his knowledge and skills to fight an enemy, though you end up finding out that you cannot fool anyone, or that you cannot fool everyone every time, like he tried and lost. Was this person a spy, though, I wonder? A skilled observer and recorder of basic facts, very useful and important skills. But what got this person killed, though, I wonder? The recording and passing of information, seen by some as theft or stealing, taking what someone has deemed not his. There is a sense that this individual made a grave mistake and suffered for it, turned left instead of right, and losing the odds. A deathbed sense of failure, though considering these odds, most anyone would say, well played. Wow, man, that's like an ending to one of his stories. A deathbed sense of failure, though considering the odds, most anyone would say, well played. And I feel like I was channeling Edgar Allan Poe with that last paragraph, that last sentence. That sounds like something he would say. A deathbed sense of failure. Though considering those odds, most anyone would say, well played. Wow, man, that's really something. But it really, as I'm going through that, and I'm going through the end of this, I haven't read that in a while. So since I've done it, so it was very interesting to go through that. But going through this, going through that, and since his death is a mystery, and the medical records are lost, including his death certificate, it makes me go to this as a real possibility. Meaning that, let's say, according to my session here, according to this session, what if he was a victim of this cooping scam, and once they found out who he was, they killed him, and they left him for dead, and they took him to the hospital, and he died. And the fact that his medical records are lost, that his death certificate is lost, it makes me even suspicious about the medical doctor. What if they were in it together and put him in a back room and got rid of the records and everything? Because with the records, all of his medical records gone and his death certificate gone, we don't know. Maybe they stabbed him and poisoned him and tried to kill him. Then this guy finds, then he's this. Where is it? This guy finds him on the street, which is what's in the story. Takes him to the hospital, and he dies there. But what if these guys were part of the political militia or whatever, and they're like, oh man, that's Edgar Allan Poe, the writer. He's gonna write a story about this, because he didn't just write these stories. He wrote columns and he did all kinds of stuff. Maybe they realized who he was, and then they had to kill him. Wow. Fascinating. Really, really fascinating. Really fascinating. Gotta hand it to Destin, man. Destin Newcomb. He can really pick some targets, man. This is my vacation target. Some people go on vacations to other countries. My vacations are, I got to go back in time and maybe solve the mysterious death of Edgar Allan Poe. Wow. Pretty cool, man. I must say. Really interesting stuff. I hope you found this as interesting as I have. Fascinating stuff. Edgar Allan Poe, many more to come. Thanks again.